countries has been shattered because grazing reserves are disappearing. Farmers and cattle rearers all over the region have therefore become perennial enemies in the battle for the land. This is leading to loss of lives and has become a serious threat to the internal security in many countries. There is also the increased incidence of soil erosion as the soil is losing its protection while basic water basins have been exposed to pollution. Deforestation has since been identified as one of the major causes of desertification. The Sahara Desert is reported to be gaining ground at an alarming rate every year. Estimates from individual countries report increasing areas affected by or prone to desertification owing to the combination of man-made change and climate change. 35% of the land area of Ghana is now prone to desertification, with the upper east region and the eastern part of the northern region facing the greatest hazards. Indeed, a recent assessment indicates that the land area prone to desertification in the country has almost doubled during recent times. Desertification is said to be creeping at an estimated 20,000 hectares per year, with the attendant destruction of farmlands and livelihoods in the country. The pressure has been mounting over the decades in spite of efforts to adopt forestry policies and programs and implement various reforestation initiatives by West African states.
A country such as Niger, you know, of course, that Niger has a large part of its area that is in the Sahara area, desert. Just a small part is wet with some forest cover. That forest cover is degrading, and that country needed that forest cover because it was so little to begin with. You also know that with agriculture, cotton cultivation, cocoa, coffee, all these things in southern Burkina Faso, northern Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, it has taken out a lot of forest cover. And we are finding ourselves now in a situation where progressively most of what we used to have next door, like timber, is now being imported from afar, meaning that it's going to be more and more expensive as we go.
Unless present initiatives by countries find converts, the situation is only going to get more severe, with projections that the region's population could reach 400 million by 2020 and 500 million in 2030. Many of these people would rely on the forest for their needs: wood for construction, timber for multiple purposes, and firewood as well as non-wood forest products. Can the forests withstand the present and future onslaught? Nobody realistically thinks they can. The Economic Community of West African States realizes this and has since initiated the ECOWAS Forest Policy Framework as a regional strategy to address this growing problem. The overall objective of this initiative is to provide guidelines to sustain the flora and fauna in forests in the region and foster the restoration of degraded forests.
We realize that each country has its own forest policy, rules and regulations. But as ECOWAS, we deal with the sub-region. And so we want a common policy. Because when we have bushfire, for example, it does not respect boundary. And there are rivers, basins that cut across countries. ECOWAS is supposed to integrate the region. And so we need to have policies that will be adhered to by all the regions. That we call a common policy. From that, we expect each country to now develop its own policy. We realize that most of the countries inherited policies that were from the colonial area. And some of these are no longer tenable. Some of it are dated. And so that was why we gathered together the countries of West Africa in 2005 to develop this policy, and it was technically validated.
The policy recommends the harmonization of forest and fiscal policies, forest resources assessment, and sustainable management of forests and their biodiversity. In all this, member states will have a role as well as the people. A lot is hinged on the ability of the immediate communities to curtail the exploitative activities that result in the destruction of the forest and, by extension, the ecosystem. Since 2005, a dialogue has been going on among various interest groups. It is called the Dialogue on Forests in West Africa, or Forest Dialogue to Save the Forest, coordinated by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, in consultation with several international agencies led by the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. This partnership has facilitated meetings since 2006 where experts developed the document on the dialogue on forest, which has been validated and adopted by ministers of environment in West Africa. The document lays out the terms of reference for the preparation of a convergence plan for sustainable management and utilization of forest ecosystem in West Africa.
This document, what we call the fundamental document of forest dialogue in West Africa, has been adopted in 2010 by the ministers in charge of forestry and wildlife of the ECOWAS member states in Cotonou. So after this adoption, the ministers give direction or directives to ECOWAS to develop a convergence plan for the sustainable management and utilization of forest ecosystem in the sub-region.
The objective of the Regional Convergence Plan is to ensure that ECOWAS member states effect best practices in forest and wildlife preservation. ECOWAS and the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, in 2011 signed an agreement for the Convergence Plan expected to harmonize the national policies of member states to provide the desired framework for sustainable management of the forest. The ECOWAS Commission and the member states have been discussing the urgent need for the convergence plan in the face of the rapidly disappearing forest reserves. ECOWAS believes the regional plan holds the key when the national policies are integrated into it. The various member states are required as part of the program to conduct national studies, taking into consideration peculiar national challenges and strategies which will feed into the regional convergence plan. ECOWAS member states have now conducted their studies, which is representative of all the views of experts, host communities, users of the forest, and other stakeholders. The reports will be collated and the best practices adopted and enriched for the convergence plan. This plan, when finalized, will provide a systemic and coordinated approach to catering for West Africa's forest resources by spelling out the role of each party and articulating how it is to be achieved.
The appropriate working methodology will be used to drive the regional and national convergence plan for better use of the forest resources of the region. I call for a proactive participation to help arrive at a definite and effective objective of these activities and projects.
We have shared ecosystem between Benin and Burkina Faso, between Niger and Nigeria, and all these areas need collaboration. They need agreements. Sometimes they need formal agreements so that the countries will know how to work on these ecosystems and what to do together to make sure that they're able to develop and to manage sustainably those areas. We will also have collaboration in terms of science, because we'll have the opportunity for universities, research centers to collaborate on forest research, on a number of issues relating to forests, like how to get population to participate effectively in natural resource management.
This
ecosystems and their goods and services.
This event